Going live with Mary Sutherland, exploring the many possibilities of dog man and what I believe them to be. And I'll be discussing how to read people through their what they call micro expressions. And I'm also going to be talking about past lives. I know that a lot of you spend a lot of good money going to people to find out what your past lives are. But what if I can show you how to find out what these past lives are without spending a bunch of money? Would that be fun? Hi, Missy. Hiya, Missy. Hi, Deb. How you doing? Anyhow, we're just getting started, but thanks, Missy, for coming to the party, and I'm glad you're here. We've had rain, so I don't know how well your pool is going to be working for you today, but anyhow, and I'm glad that Rich found his cell phone, so everything worked out good. I found my camera. I want to thank everyone that could attend my party to attend it. I know it was very difficult for a lot of you to attend because of all the detours and closed roads and all the flooding and all the cleaning you guys had to do. I mean, it's a total mess. And Brad and me were kind of sitting back, thinking, wow, sure glad that that's not happening to us. Well, guess what? The river broke through the lake today, so we've got water in our yard, and we've got the river current going through our lake. So I don't know when it's going to crest, but the river or the road going around our lake is totally underwater. It's probably since Missy was here, it's probably risen maybe 6 to 8 foot. And it's still rising, so I don't know what's going on. But anyhow, we should be okay because we kind of sit on a hill, and the yard is kind of terraced down into where the lake starts. So I'm thinking that we'll probably be okay. We may end up a little bit with some water in our basement, maybe, but we've got drains in our basement, so even that should be okay. So anyhow, so we should do okay. We did get some rain today, so hi, Jesus, and I guess that's all that's joined so far. 5 comments. Anyhow, now remember, if by chance my internet gets down or I freeze up and you can see that, we've been disconnected, just remember, I'm going to say for a little while, hoping that it'll connect. But if it doesn't connect, I'll start a part 2 of this show and reconnect that way. So if you see me go down, don't go into any fear because I'm still there. Anyhow, all of you that did attend our birthday party and our anniversary party, thank you so very, very much. We really appreciated it, and it was so good seeing old friends again. Boy, it's been a long, time does fly, doesn't it? Because it just seemed like I'd seen everybody earlier that year, or last year, and some of the people were saying, God, Mary, I haven't seen you in 3 or 4 years. So it's like, wow, has it really been that long? So it was a good thing that I did have the party because, I don't like being away from my friends all that long, So anyhow, boy, it was a potluck dinner, so we had a lot of people bringing food, and boy, that food was good. I sent a bunch of it home to different people, but we kept quite a lot of it. But I think I had the other night, day before yesterday, I had a ham sandwich and potato salad and baked beans. I finished them, so I told Brad, well, my birthday's over. No more food, so I'm done. Okay, so as you know, we do readings as I'm talking on the show. So if anybody wants a reading, we're going to be using the cycle. That's me, not cards. Psychic tarot. Okay. So that's what we're going to be using. I like these. Now, I use all my different tarot cards for different things. So, I mean, I got a ton of tarot cards. But this one I kind of like for doing readings. But that might change. Hi, Jared. That might change soon. So, you never know. But in the meantime, when you're, what you need, well, you know, let me write this down, okay, so that you guys have it. But you can buy tarot, excuse me. You can't, let me kind of jiggle everything. Hi, Billy. Let's see, it's HCP. Hi, Paul. HCP, www. Girling, oh, no, that's wrong. Living in, living, oh darn it. Okay, living in the light, ms.com, tarot, I think it is. Yeah, let's check down. Good on. Living in the light, ms.com, tarot. Yep, that's what it was. So here, now that there, I just typed that into comments, so you have that. But this is hi Ari. Okay, so anyhow, I sent that into onto comments because, like with me, I use a lot of different tarot cards. I have one that I use in the morning. I use this one here for right now. Yeah, I see that you got it working, Yari. I sent you something directly so that you wouldn't have any problem. But, and so I do have a website with tarot cards for sale. You can go to it. If you don't have, if you don't understand tarot and you're beginning, just kind of follow down the list, and then there's a section that I have for tarot cards for beginners. And I would suggest doing that first. Get one of those sets of cards, and then another set of cards when you feel comfortable with the tarot. But when you do get your tarot cards, they're just like a pendulum or anything like that. You take your cards and you put them underneath your pillow and sleep with them for a couple nights. Or you just hold on to them and shuffle them and become friends with them. And then pretty soon what happens is your energy merges with the energy of the cards and vice versa. And so then your cards are speaking to you. And then if everything is going right, you're listening, okay? And remember, there's not such a thing as distance. And so regardless of where you're at, you should be able to read for somebody else, or or read for yourself. Past, present, future. Whoops. Past, present, and future are all the same. So you can read your tarot for the past. You can read it for the present. You can read it for the future. Now, what I usually do is when I get stuck, first thing I do when I get started, hi Susan, hi Pascal. But what I usually do to get started is I just do a general reading for everyone, for Mother Earth, basically. Okay, they call them general readings. I usually pull up 3 cards. So, okay, one, and I kind of like it, to solar plexus. Okay. But anyhow, I'm shuffling to just get a general reading first. Okay. Okay. Let me get one more. For the people out there. I wanted to get that extra one in, you know, because it's okay. I'm trying to make sense of it, okay? First of all, we got a 3, okay? Solar plexus. And 3, of course, is manifestation. But I'm not quite sure that solar plexus, so I don't want to give you a false reading here, I suppose. And I know that there's a lot of you that's already that already have the answer to this, okay? But I don't. So, solar plexus. Whoops, 157. Okay. See, all these books, if you're buying and you don't know how to do tarot, you don't really have to worry because they always give you a little book to go with it. What did I just say that was? 157? 150, yeah, must be. This is colors yellow, sound is sound of the ram, element is fire, and the key word is I can. The solar plexus chakra is located between the navel area just below the rib cage. It represents power, vitality, willpower, self-esteem, and confidence. The energy center where your emotions and feelings are recorded. This chakra is associated with clairvoyance or inner feeling, which is the major psychic reception area. To balance the chakra, you may want to try yoga, dance, and movement, or breath work with color. In addition, be aware of people who drain your energy. Workshops and classes that focus on empowerment will help you open and harmonize this area. There was a reason that card was pulled. There's always a reason. With cards, I can't really, in the same way with the pendulum or any of that, you know, I can give you a general idea of how it works, but the best thing to realize is it does work. So, okay, Deb. Don't let me forget to give you a reading, Deb. Okay? Pascal is from the UK. How is the weather doing over there? How is everybody over there? And how are you doing, Pascal? But the idea is it works. So if it works, what the heck? You know, why do you got to dig into everything and try to understand everything? Why be like me, huh? But there was a reason that was pulled. Now remember, this is a generalization type of a reading. So it's kind of like a universal reading. It's kind of like what we're all going through. Okay? And this would be probably the best card ever to pull out based on the other cards. Okay? Because this is a card you have to work at right now. Okay? This is the chakra that you need to be focusing on. All right? This is your helper. Okay? Because, well, for one thing, I think in 2 weeks, Mercury goes back into retrograde, which is never fun. Just remember, don't be signing a bunch of things, contracts or anything when it comes to Mercury. And this is, remember, we got the equinox coming up too. And from what our friend Alice says, that has been an astrologist for 40 years plus. Um, she said that this solstice is going to bring on a very big change, especially with our government. And, it's kind of like a domino factor. When one government starts, having problems, you can just see the other governments starting to have the same problems too. And so, anyhow, I'm trying to say this kind of nicely, but because this pretty much works for the United States and the people thereof. We're suffering right now in silence. We have no voice. But if you see that there's a 9 also with this, that means that we're at the end of that cycle. Something's going to be happening where we're no longer being represented, or, we will become represented, and we are going to start speaking up and getting things done. I'm not saying, and this is going to force the government to do this as well, because the 9 means end of suffering in silence. So let our voice be heard. You'll be able to do that because you're going to be focusing on this solar plexus chakra, getting your voice back, right? Getting tough, getting strong. But this shows where we're at again right now. We're in, because we haven't had a voice, because we haven't had proper representation, we are going through emotional withdrawal. The world is going through it as well. It's like, well, what's the point? Our voice isn't being heard anymore anyhow. Who's standing up for us? We always thought that we had a voice, and then we find out that there is no justice in this world, right? So, but anyhow, that is an 8. And an 8's kind of like a yin and a yang, right? Kind of goes one way or the other. Some of you are going to pull out of it, others won't. But 2, that's another yin and a yang, right? But the 2 is showing a spiritual union. So that means that we are going to come together. Maybe not materialistic at right now. Well, yeah, it is actually. Because whatever develops in the spiritual world manifests into the materialistic world. So I would say that what we're happening is, although we are now suffering in silence, right? We're coming to an end. Where's that 9? See? We're coming to an end. But we do need to rely on our solar plexus chakra. So work on that. Spirit. And we are coming together spiritually. And even though we're emotionally withdrawn at this point in time, our spirituality and the coming together of all of us is going to make the big change. And we also going to be relying on, we're also going to be relying on the equinox and how the planets all fall together, because there really is a divine plan. We just don't know what it is. And we don't even really know the name of the divinity. Some assume it's a mother, some assume it's a father. Some, there's so many different theories of who our divine maker is. But does it really make any difference? I mean, when it comes right down to it, does it really make any difference if he is a she or she is a he, or what color their skin is, or, it doesn't really make any difference. But it does. We have come through a trial, like a fire, purification by fire. And we have recognized the fact that we have been very, very lazy, always dependent on somebody else to get the work done for us. And with this new president that we have, it has made us realize that we really can't depend on Congress or the Senate or anybody. What we need to do is get involved and start using our voice, coming together spiritually. And spiritually can be coming together in prayer as well. But it's a deciding factor of where we're going to go. And so this is I'm not going to go any further with this because all this is a general reading for all the world. But I think that we have to have trust that that there is some sort of order in the world, and that we do have guardians and spiritual beings and gods and goddesses watching over us to help us. But I kind of think that these kind of sit aside and they don't do anything as long as we're not doing anything. But when we start getting involved and doing, and for showing some guts on our own and courage on our own, I think that is when they will step in and start helping us more. So, hi Dave, how you doing? So anyhow, that's the general reading. And if you do want to have a reading, we're going to do that. But I am going to do Deborah's right now because of the fact that last time we did this, Deborah had asked, and there were so many people on that day, and the comments were going so fast, I just missed her. And I don't want to do that. So I noticed it, contacted Deb. Oh. Okay. This card jumped out at me, Deb. And it's showing, again, spiritual union. Would you like to comment on that? We have the chalice, the two people connecting. We have the green for growth. Definitely love. It's more of a spiritual love. And the yellow back there, of course, is light. But if you see that light is coming together like a butterfly. So thus, I would say that through this spiritual union, it's going to create some sort of a transformation for the better. And you are going to grow from it. And the two represents couples. Right, wrong, yin and yang, decisions, the yes and the no, what is polar opposites, I guess you could say it like that. But the green does show that there's a leaf. That means that's representative of growth. But there's also the yellow butterfly behind it. So, does that help you at all, Deb? Yes or no, please? I kind of like the idea of knowing myself, getting confirmation from all of you as to how this, if the card was the right card for you. So if you could tell me. Hi, Carolyn. How are you? Deb says, yes, I believe I'm going through some things. Like what, Deb? Anything? Is there a question you may have? Not good. Well, you know what they say, in order to know the good, you have to know the bad. We have a habit, all of us, of being on, Oh, Carol's got bad toothache. Oh, well, you know what you got to do with that, huh? Well, everybody sent prayers to Carolyn for her toothache, okay? Anytime I have bad toothache, I get that numb set that they always get for kids, um, for teething. But if you could get Numbset, go to the drugstore and get some Numbset and put it on your tooth, that will help you until you get to the dentist. All right. And I think I'm not sure, but I think this is how it works, is if you take pressure and put it on your ear like this and hold that pressure there, I'm thinking that that is for a toothache. It's either that or a headache. I don't know. Well, either way, you don't want a headache or a toothache, right? I'm in the process of figuring out what path I'm going on for a job. That's, hmm. And you think that that's a negative? Why would you think that that's a negative? I would think that that's kind of exciting. Spiritual. It says that there's a spiritual union about to take place, and with growth. I would think that this would be kind of confirmation that everything's going to work out well. You have a fractured tooth, and he couldn't do anything about it, huh, Carolyn? Oh, you're having a hard time getting one. Well, the thing is, I've always said that if you're fighting, if you're always having to constantly fight in life, that you might not be on the right path. It's like trying to swim against the current. Ooh, Carolyn says 4 root canals and Crohn's call again. Ouch. Ouch. But if you're having a hard time, maybe you need to stand back, check things out a little bit, start analyzing what you need to be doing in your life. Oh, I don't like the idea. I like the idea of the antibiotics, but I don't trust these pain pills they're putting out anymore. It's just a way to get everybody hooked on drugs. But I know that pain pills are, when you're going through all that stuff, pain pills feel pretty good. Takes away the pain. But there's way too many opiates been given up by these doctors. And people are getting hooked. And they don't even know they're hooked until their prescription runs out. It's a vicious cycle. Hey, did you guys hear? I heard it on the news today that they're thinking about, as far as people that are hooked on opiates, and they are in front of a judge, and of course they have to go to jail because they've been, caught taking drugs, right? Illegal drugs. And it usually starts out, it's legal. And then they can't get any more of that. By this time they're hooked, so they got to take these, then they have to get out on the street to buy it. So anyhow, and of course that's against the law, so then they're picked up, thrown in jail, pay a big fine. And then, so anyhow, now they have come up with this wonderful idea that all the people that had drug issues that's in jail will be reconsidered because of the fact that they were on drugs, and they're going to give them a chance in life. So anyhow, this is being brought up, and, it hasn't become, I don't know if it's a governor thing or if it's Congress or whoever, but it's somebody. I just kind of half listened to it. But they're going to say, that they're going to give these drug users, um, you know, they're going to release them and they're going to do a review of them, and they can be released as long as they take, but they'll have to be taking counseling, for drugs, something like an AA meeting, right? And and guess what? Which isn't bad, right? And maybe even have to go to a facility depending how severe they are. But guess what? There's one little tiny condition. I mean, and I'm serious. It's one condition though. They have to agree to be castrated. The males have to be agreed to be have a vasectomy, and the women have to have you know their taken care of so that they can't have no more babies. Seriously. Chop my head off, I'll feel fine. I know toothaches are really, really bad. You should apply heat to it maybe, huh? Oh. And the only thing I've ever, that Andesol is what I always used to take. So, you will find the job though, Carol. Or not Carol, but Deb. You will find the job that is going to fit with your personality, with your dreams. Even if you have to create that job for yourself, but you will find it, and and as the card read, that is a spiritual union. So whatever job it is, you got the two is going to connect. Okay, so whatever it is, I mean, so don't jump. Don't just jump. To have a job. I mean, you can have a job, but I mean, keep looking for whatever it is, because there is a job out there that creates that spiritual union, which will give you a lot of happiness. Okay. So anyhow, I want to. Okay, that's what I want, is something that I want, not that I don't want. Exactly, because I mean, your finances may call for the fact that you have to have a job to pay your bills. Okay, well, fine and dandy, take it. But that doesn't mean that this one perfect job is not manifesting into your life right now. And so take what you need to get by, but don't, I mean, look for that other job until you find it, because it is out there. It's manifesting right now, and it is out there. And remember, if opportunity comes knocking at that door, open that door and say, come on in. Okay? Oh. Well, when's the earliest you can get in to see the dentist? Deb, you can be happy. If you take my advice, you will be happy. That's what the card said. Warm, yeah, I was gonna say warm salt water. That's a good one too, Shelley. Shelley, thank you for coming to my party. And I'm sorry about Max and how he acted. I should have kind of scolded him, but I was having too much fun with everybody. But I will watch him better next time. Okay. Hi, HJ. Well, it's Monday. That's tomorrow, Carol. So, so we're doing. You can make it, right? Well, you could try hypnotizing yourself. Because the face. Oh, you know what? Oh, duh. Here, hold on. Do you have a pendulum? So wherever you have pain, in your case, it's your mouth. Well, here, let me find a place I got pain. I don't have any pain. And my chakras are probably pretty well open. Well, Usually my crown chakra is kind of. But you see, take your pendulum, hold it over your mouth, and that will move, and it'll swing around, and it'll go back and forth and everything. And then when it stops, it should be done. But that works for pain too. So you just ask your pendulum to take the pain away. And then put it to where the pain is, like in the mouth, right in here. You know, and if it starts, I'm going to do this. If it starts swinging like that, let it swing. And if it's going like that, let it go like that. And then when it stops, it's done its thing. And that should work for you. Gotta have the pendulum though. I mean, we have stopped a lot of pain, back issues, headaches, and all that stuff with the pendulum using it. And again, don't know how it works, but I know it does work. And for all of you that want to keep your chakras open, get your pendulum and go over your head onto your your chakras and clean them up. This is the best thing I've ever found, and I prefer this over Reiki. I'd much rather use my pendulum than the Reiki. So anyhow, find out, and if you don't have a pendulum, get yourself one, because you really do need to have a pendulum around. Okay, so anyhow, has anybody been watching the press conferences on TV and all the news people saying, God, what the heck is going on with the president in the White House? Because they don't allow anybody to see them talk. And it's like, are you kidding? We can't bring cameras in. We can't bring videos. We can't video these conversations. And it's like, no. And so what they'll do is they will stand behind a screen or have it set up where it's in another office altogether. And the press asks the questions and then they answer. So they can record the audio, but they can't video or photograph it, right? And I don't understand why the press is so confused about this. Because, I don't know, I like to study things, right? And if something don't make sense, I study until it finally does make sense. And there's a thing called micro expressions, and how that and actually Trump was the one that brought it up, because Trump was bragging one time about, he didn't need to know he didn't need to hear what a person was saying, or he didn't need to even understand what that person was saying, like if they're talking in a different language or whatever, because all he had to do was watch their face, and he knew the answers to his questions. Well, then there came out a movie, or not a movie, but it's on Netflix, and I highly, highly recommend you guys watching it. It's called Lie to Me, L-I-E, Lie to Me. And there again, and I'll put that up. Well, actually, I have it on in my group and on my timeline right now, so that you guys can watch it. But what that is the whole show. It's a series. I think there's 2 or 3 seasons, and I love it, because he says, the owner of this place, because what they do is they vet people, politicians, people that caught doing some sort of a criminal act or whatever. And he says, I don't even want you guys to answer me. Don't say a word. I'm just asking questions. And that's how he wanted it done, just like Trump. Because we have all these micro expressions, hundreds of them in our faces, like a twitching of the eye, or lifting of the forehead, scrunching, of the, scrunching of the face, or, puckering of the lips, like a little tick, you know, or a tightening around your eyes, flaring of the nose. All these expressions are indicators of yeses and nos. It's just like a lie detector test, except you can't get around these. You can't fake. You can maybe fake one using, like staring a person dead in the eyes and saying, no, I didn't do that, right? But all the while you're saying that and using that one expression, there'll be 5 more different expressions going on your face, or on your body, that's going to show that you just lied. So, I mean, you really need to go to my timelines page or in my group, and I've got a small video clip where they teach people how to read micro expression. And I also put up the link of Lie to Me so that you can go to YouTube. Both of them are on, both are URLs for YouTube. And you can just go there and understand. And this is the reason why Trump is not allowing his press conferences to be videoed. Because he knows, because he does it, that there are people out there that are readers of these micro expressions. And so, and how perfect is that? Because, when like Spicer or one of those guys would be standing up there, they were being asked questions. And of course, they had to lie about it. Well, anybody that was studying these micro expressions would know exactly if they, just according to the question, did they fear the question? Did they hate the question? Were they lying about the question? Did they feel contempt about the question? Because it shows all of your emotions, not just that you're lying and telling the truth. It also shows your emotion as like fear. And then, of course, it is. Then the readers are going to say, well, what are they fearing? What are they fearing? And even like right now, Trump is, I mean, he's got himself in such muck that, he can't move because everybody's watching him. And as everybody else is watching him, like the press, there's also these readers that are watching him. And so what they've done is they says, well, Trump is leaving for 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, and he's going on vacation and play some golf and things like that in New Jersey. Yeah, it pisses people off, right? Okay, well, yet they would rather have people pissed off thinking that he's just on a vacation than being able to have him on camera and being filmed showing all these micro expressions that he's going through right now. Because right now he's showing himself as fearful, as having contempt, angry, insecure, and maybe it'd be easy. I mean, let's say he's just afraid of being caught on something. Okay, so they ask him a question. He shows this anger or this fear. So then it's just a matter of asking more questions and then watching his face. And pretty soon, like if you watch that show Lie to Me, I mean, these guys have they have it so down pat They can have somebody in that room interrogating this person, and within a half an hour, they know the whole history of this person, what he was thinking, what he went through, what he did, what he's planning on doing, who he likes, who he doesn't like, and they haven't even asked him a question. Right? Or they may have asked him a question or a suggestion, but they don't need for him to answer. And Trump has bragged about it for years. So Trump understands that. People don't give Trump enough credit. He's a very, very smart man. Like he said, he wouldn't be president. You know, I don't say he's a nice person, but I don't misjudge, you know, his intelligence either. He's been around for 70 years, and he's made himself quite a lot of money. He knows that, what do they call it, the deal of the game or whatever. I don't know. But that's it. That's what I'm talking about. Micro expressions. So now, this is where you have to beware, because there's a lot of people out there. I mean, cons, shysters, grifters. They have studied these micro expressions, how to read people. They're very, very good at it. And you can fall into, especially like reading like I'm doing. I mean, I don't know who you are. I can't see those micro expressions or anything. So, I can just read the card for what the card says. But there's other people that will use you. Watch your face, watch your reactions and that, and do a complete reading. And you're going to walk away thinking, oh my God, these guys were so good. They knew what I was fearing. They knew just about everything about me. Well, yeah. If you have studied micro expressions, you will. And that was what makes a con a con. Because they know you as well as you know you. They probably know you better. Because a lot of times what we do is we avoid confrontation. We avoid confronting our fears. But that doesn't mean that we don't react to those fears. Maybe just a pull back of our head or batting of our eyes, or looking to the right, looking to the left, or dropping our eyes, lifting our eyes. Those are all meanings. And so you have to be very, very careful, The ones that are fairly safe with it are people that have done Botox, because, their whole skin is like cement. Underneath their skin is like cement there. They can't even do, these little micro expressions. Tears is another thing, too. Laughter. I mean, twitching of your finger, adjusting your seat, sitting straight, sitting slouched, looking off in a distance, looking a person straight in the eye. All you police officers, I'm sure that, the people that's in law enforcement, they have been taught this. It's probably criminology 101, and I'm surprised that I actually wrote to Rachel Maddow today to ask her why the news has never considered that is why the White House does not want to have their press conferences with the commentators standing there answering questions. I mean, why is the press having such a difficult time understanding this, right? So, anyhow, just another way of doing things. And it doesn't just pertain to the metaphysical world. It pertains to money management, going to the bank to get a loan. A con uses micro expressions to read that person, to find out, what they can get from that person and how to get it. the con becomes what they call the grifter, Grifter, grifter. And that's what Trump is a grifter. We'll find out what your fears are and then play on them. Tell you anything you need to know. Calm your fears by saying just the right thing, because they can tell exactly what the right thing is to say just by watching those expressions on your face. Simple as that. Mostly, I mean, so there's other people that counselors, psychiatrists, they all use this. So it's not just the con. It's a thing that is constantly being used. And most of us, are not even aware of what's going on. Not even aware. So if you really want to have some fun with this, start taking a class. Or just start watching, or just go to my website, or not my website, but my Facebook site, and click those URLs that I've given you. And then take it from there and go to YouTube and just start studying this stuff. It's just interesting as all get out. The only way that you're going to keep yourself from being read by these grifters, by these people that their expertise is in watching facial expressions, body language, and things like that, is to do exactly like what the White House is doing with the press conferences. Having the people, their commentators, stand behind a wall or in another room so people can't read them. Is that interesting? Well, I think it's interesting. Okay, so now another thing that I think is very interesting is Dogman. I do these shows, right? Or these tours. And I found that anytime something real scary happens, women will scream, yell, right? But we pretty much kind of got it together, the worst they'll get out of us is cussing or jumping behind her boyfriend or whatever. Me, it's Brad. Hey, Brad. But I mean, we don't freak out. We allow ourselves to get scared and maybe run, But guys, oh my God, I take these guys up on these tours and they get angry. They totally lose it. I mean, totally lose it. And it's because for some reason, if a guy can't see it, hit it, or kill it, they feel defenseless. And then they get angry because they're so caught up in that fear and not knowing that it almost paralyzes them. And they have this tendency where a woman will go afterwards and talk about it, to her friends and stuff like that. A guy wants to go out to the local gun dealer and find the biggest gun he can find, and and go to his friends and brag the size of the caliber he's got. I don't know. You guys figure that one out for yourself. But anyhow, so I'm listening, because this is how I am. I have to figure out everything. I can't let something go. To me, everything is possible. So I never use the word, well, that's impossible, you're a liar, I don't believe you, da-da-da, because wonder if they're telling the truth. And if I just turn around, if I just say, well, I don't believe you, and go on to something else, then what's going to happen is I might miss out on an opportunity. So that's how I am. And so I've been investigating, giving a lot of attention to Dogman lately. And using Vic Kundo's show, Dogman Encounters, because they're kind of like why I like him, because he lets the his guest take over the show. There's a lot of hosts, and I used to do this with radio shows too, until I realized what I was doing and I quit. But when I first started radio, I would overtalk my guest. I'd forget that I was on the radio show and I got all these listeners, and I just start talking and back and forth with them, and people don't like that. And I don't either. So what I like to do is find a radio station that just says, this is this person, this is what happened to them. Why don't you, sir or ma'am, tell us your story? And then Vic sits back and he lets them go with the story. And then if he sees them getting caught up or they missed out on something, because he always previews, he always has he talks to them for a day or so before, so that he knows his guest and knows their story. So in case they forget something, he can stop them and say, yes, but did you ever have this happen? Okay, doesn't put the words out there, but just, And then you say, oh yeah, I forgot. And then he says, well, you want to tell us about that too? So then the guy goes on, or girl goes on. So I like that. I can deal with that. So that's what I've been listening to, is Dogman Encounters. And it blew me away the other day. This goes back to men and women. Because you got all these dogman researchers out there, right? They've been doing dogman research, dogman hunting, with their big guns, and with their theories, who dogman is. I have heard theories from, as far as them being paranormal, that, or them being of the government, all these crazy theories of how these dogmen have come to be. And even the Indians say, the Indians have their theories too. But here's these researchers all this time, and I have never, ever heard one of them come up with this. And as soon as this woman said it, it was like, there it is. This woman is not a researcher. She's a woman. A woman coming from her friend's house back to her house in the suburbs. She passes this big trash bin, sees a dog man in there digging garbage out. So now she doesn't scream. She doesn't reach down and grab a handgun out of her holster, because, that's kind of the guy's thing, right? Or she didn't pick up a stone, throw it at her, or anything. She just was very quiet, gave him his girth, walked gently by him to her house, closed the door, locked it, went into her bedroom, locked that bedroom door, and sat there. So Vic says, wow, what did you do? What did you think? Did you contact some friends? And did you, did you, like, men friends, where you could hunt him down or whatever? And she says, no, I didn't tell anybody. But she was calm, and she was even laughing. And she says, the way I see Dogman is Dogman's an animal. It's not like a Bigfoot, he's an animal. And any animal out there hunts for their food. And when they're not hungry, they're not hunting. So she said, but she says they're wild animals. Meaning that you give them their space. You don't go and yell at them. You don't throw things at them. You don't shoot at them. You leave them alone. And because if an animal is, they'll attack because they're hungry. They'll also attack because you have got them mad or frightened, or put up against something, or put up into a corner where they can't get out. She says you just look at it like that. And she said that she did not believe they were paranormal. And she says, I think they are dire wolves. Dire wolves. As soon as I heard it, I thought, there it is. You see, dire wolves, it's like, remember when somebody discovered the platypus? Well, they were all laughed at. I mean, come on, platypus. People laughed about the dragon, those, what do they call them? Kimono dragons. Saying that, no. They said that, the sea serpents. There wasn't such a thing as sea serpents. There wasn't such a thing as giant octopuses. There wasn't such a thing as giant humans. This has been kind of like the MO of the scientific world, for all these years. And they say, well, these animals became extinct 10,000 years ago. Well, if man didn't become extinct 10,000 years ago, that there were pockets of men that and women that survived the various cataclysms, it makes sense that there were these giant mammals and reptiles and different things like that managed to survive as well. And remember Jane Goodall, she told about the great mountain gorilla, and they said there's not such a thing. She went out there and proved them wrong. So, and we are today finding things that we were positive, or scientists were positive that had went extinct in thousands of years ago. And we're finding them. The Tasmanian wolf. Remember, they thought he was extinct. Now they're kind of going back on that idea. So why couldn't, if you take a picture of a dire wolf and you put it side by side to a picture of a dog man that somebody has drawn, they're almost identical. And the dire wolf would have been about the same size, if not bigger, than Dogman. So I believe what she said, that in her belief, that she thinks that these are dire wolves that have actually survived the great cataclysms, and they have bred and been left alone out here in the wilderness, and nobody knew about them except just a very few people that had encountered them. But because of the population encroaching on their lands, like Bigfoot lands and the Dogman lands, there's been more and more sightings. And because we have the internet, there's been more and more reports. And the thing is, these dogmen are being seen in towns and suburbs, different things like that. And I think the reason for that, as she does as well, is they have gotten used to seeing man. And they're adapting to their environment with people in them. Just like the raccoons, the coyotes, the bear. These are all very, very wild animals. But they have adapted to the human environment, or environment with humans. So you're seeing raccoons in town, you're seeing bears, you're seeing wolves in town, cougar in town, bobcats in town. Why would it be so difficult to see that these dogmen are also coming into town because they're adapting. And you hear a lot of stories on big man encounters or dog man encounters about the men saying about how these dog men just come running out of these fields and chase after their cars to kill them. They're demons, you know. Like this one guy, he was talking about, oh my God, he was a demon. He was going to kill me. He's seen my car, and he comes running across this field, jumps over this fence, and is chasing my car, running right alongside my car. And then finally notices me and looks into the car. Well, no, if that was the case, the real case, he could have killed that guy, right? Because he's running right next, windows down, and he's like, he said he could feel his breath, but the dog man didn't do anything. But now, look at now, if you heard that story at all, you'll notice the guy describes his car as one of the muscle cars. And it was a bright orange car, and it had those cherry bomb, I think that they're called cherry bomb mufflers, but they're really loud, you know, and and they'll pop, 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 right? So now what is the main thing that dogs like to do when you find them every once in a while laying along the road dead? Especially in these farming areas. Dogs love to chase cars, just for the fun of it. They're not out to kill the driver, but they do. That's one of their favorite pastimes. Just sitting along the road, waiting for a car to go by so they can chase after them. I mean, that's a serious problem for a lot of people because they're always afraid they're going to run over the dogs, right? Or the dog does get run over. And of course, when you got like a muffler like that, you're definitely going to be getting that dog man's attention. So bam, 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 boom, you know, dog man looks up, sees this bright orange car going down the road, and is like, ah, cool. So he goes on chase after the car. If he was going to kill that guy, he would have killed him. You know, he was chasing the car. And you have instances all the time from dogman encounters about dogs chasing cars. And another guy says, well, I know that if I had put it in another gear and took off when I did, he says that dogman would have pushed my car over, you know, into a ditch because he was coming right for it. No, I don't think that he was looking at the car like bowling ball or, you know, pins in a bowling ball. I think he was he was like any other dog chasing after cars. Does that make them demonic? No more so than a farmer's dog chasing after your car. But does it make them big and scary? You bet it does. I mean, when you come across something 8 foot with an expansion of his chest from shoulder to shoulder of 3 foot, 4 foot, yeah, it's going to be scary. But just because it's big and nobody knows about it doesn't make it demonic. Now, I wouldn't want to be in the woods when when he was hunting, he was hungry, you know, or if he had been injured because of some stupid hunter out there shooting at him, you know, and give anybody a bad attitude. But I think that if we see them more as canine and that they are a dire wolf, I think that people would accept them more and also realize exactly what they are. It doesn't make any difference if you got a 40 caliber or 50 caliber, you know, gun at shooting bullets like that. But it is still against the law. That is regardless if that name is put on there or not, you know, there is such a thing as hunting seasons. That's why you get hunting license. All animals in North America are owned by the the government of the United States. And in order to hunt them, to shoot them, you have to get a hunting license, a fishing license, or whatever. And if just because that name is not on that registry, if it's not, that means that you can't shoot it. And if you do shoot it, you're going to get a fine, and you are going to go to prison. You know, you're not going to be able to go out there, drag that thing all over, you know, and think that you're going to make a ton of money, because you're not. But you are putting your life in danger, because nobody foolish enough is going to go out there to hang out with grizzly bears. I mean, there was that one guy that's hanging out with grizzly bears. Remember that show? Well, guess what happened? Eventually, the wrong grizzly bear came in and killed him. So he was friends with all the other grizzly bears. Well, this one wasn't his friend. Same way with dogmen. Give them their space. Realize that they have the right to be on this land just as much as you and me. See them for what they are, as a dangerous animal, and give them their girth. Doesn't that make sense? That makes a lot more sense than what these researchers out there are saying. And it just like totally amazes me, because I have never yet, and contact me if I'm wrong, but I have never yet heard any researcher out there explaining dogmen as dire wolf. And that should be the first thing that we're thinking of. I didn't think of it because I didn't know about dire wolves. But as soon as she said what she thought it was like, boom, there it is. That explains everything. Just like there's a lot of animals out there that science said was extinct and died out 10,000 years ago, so is these dogmen. They are prehistoric wolves that chase cars like a dog. They probably have the same characteristics of a dog, you know. So, I don't know. It works for me, and I'll tell you, I'm glad that I listened to that show, because it got to the point where I was afraid to go out into the woods. But now, understanding that this is a real animal and showing respect to it like you would a grizzly bear, I think I'll be able to go out in the woods without fear. And I don't think I need to carry some gosh darn gun the size of a cannon in order to protect myself. I think that the best thing to do is, if you come across one of these things, is just keep quiet, don't run, because what happens when a person runs from a dog? The dog will chase them. That's what the dog man's doing too. In most cases, I'm not hearing people dying, you know. I'm hearing people out there like 411, that Peloti or whatever his name is, suggesting that people are dying, possibly from Bigfoot or possibly from Dogman, but he's not really going to say for sure. So what does he do? He tells all about these people missing, and then you got people afraid to go into the national parks, and you got people carrying guns around, thinking it's a dogman, thinking it's a Bigfoot, when chances are it's none of the above. You know, and I don't think that that's right either. I don't think that you should go out there. And I hope Blaze, whatever his name is listening. He called me one time, last year I think it was, because I raised the same type of a question. And he heard about it and actually called me to know what my problem was, that I was bad-mouthing him. And at that time, I don't consider this bad-mouthing, you know. So I told him, I'm not bad-mouthing you. But, you know, I did have a question on how you were proceeding, you know, with your research. And he says, well, buy the book and you'll learn more. And he hung up. I mean, to me, he was a perfect freaking stranger. Except from what I had heard, on YouTube. And then here this dude is, and I know I'm a stranger to him, but for some reason he got all hot-headed. Like, how dare you turn around and um, question my reporting because I was a police officer. Well, excuse me, I know a lot of police officers, and I got a few friends that were are investigative. Special investigators. Sorry about that. You know who? Well, hail. But anyhow, so I mean, okay. So my name is Mary Sutherland, and I'm a housewife and I'm a researcher. And why is your ship supposed to be smelling so much better than mine? Excuse me. Did I call you because I heard you didn't like my books? No. So anyhow, what I'm getting at is we shouldn't play on the fear factor to sell books. We shouldn't play on the fear factor to get positions on the lecture circuit. If we don't know something, let's just say, well, like with the Bigfoot, like with the state parks, 411 missing. I mean, it's good that we know about these people missing, right? That's a good thing because that keeps us more concentrating on our surroundings, right? And it keeps the family from running off and getting lost, right? There's a lot of good things about keeping the family together and paying attention to your surroundings. So that's a good thing. But what's not a good thing is leaving people hanging, afraid that it's UFOs, it's Bigfoot, it's Dogman, or whatever, because people are going to get hurt, especially when all of a sudden they're so fearful that they start going out there with guns. I mean, and shooting something that moves in the bush. That's dangerous. And for you men out there, I think that there's a little bit better way of dealing with the situation rather than the size of your gun and how fast you are to shoot into a brush because it moves. Because wonder if that brush is moving because there's a little kid back there. Or there's somebody just innocent back there. Or even if it was an innocent animal, a deer or something. Or even if it was a dog man. I mean, excuse me, God's creatures. If the dog man isn't bothering you, leave it alone. Report it to the national park, the rangers. Let them deal with it. My feelings anyhow. Okay, to finish this off. Now, for some reason, I'm running my mouth here. I see I got 60 comments. None of your comments are showing up. The last comment I got was from Carol, talking about her too. So, I don't know who is saying what until after the show's done. But there's one more thing I want to say. This is on spending a lot of money, going to people that can tell you your past life. How much you paying for it? $60? Well, how do they know what your past life was? And how do you know if they're telling you the truth or not? This is a way that I was told, by a very, very, very good psychic. And then I studied on it, watched. Like I said, I always study things until I find my truth. My truth does not have to be your truth, though. Remember that. But this is how you figure out who you are, who you were in another life. Because What you are at the present time is an extension of who you have been in another life, which is the extension of who you was in another life, with the extension of who you was in the other life, right? All the way back to when you were first created. Now, let's say that you got this, oh my God, you were so interested in Ireland. Okay, you've never been to Ireland, don't know anything about Ireland, but you want to go to Ireland. You love the Irish accent. You love the corned beef and cabbage, whatever. But you love the Irish songs. There's something that clicks, right? But you can't explain the click. But it's that attraction. Why? Because when you have that attracted to something without any rhyme or reason, and you just click, it clicks. That means that you were born in Ireland. There's a lot more to it, but let's say that all your life you wanted to be in the military. Don't know why, because military isn't a great life, right? But it's something you always dreamed of. Why? Because you were in the military before. Let's say that you have this fear, ungodly fear for water. Don't know why, but it's a fear. And it just almost puts you into a total panic. That's because you died by drowning. You have a fear of fire. You died by fire. But it's the fears, well, it's the passions, whether it be love or fear. These passions you have for something in life, your interest that you have for certain things in life. The reason you have them is because that's who you was in another life. Now, for example, my dad he says, Mary, you're a blue-bellied Yankee. He says, your whole family was a Yankee and you're a Yankee. And he says, and be proud of it. Okay, fine. But for some reason, and I never told my dad, because I loved my dad and didn't like him being mad at me, right? In my heart of hearts, even as a little girl, I had this romanticism, passionism, love, this loyalty for the Confederacy. I loved listening to the old Confederate music. I loved Gone with the Wind, this old songs, their courage for believing in what they believed in. I mean, their life is nothing. I mean, the reasons we're given for the war today has absolutely nothing as to why that war really took place. It has nothing to do with blacks and whites and slavery as much as it did is to join the Union as one, and take away, the carpetbaggers coming in and taking advantage of hard times. There was, slavery, come on. We had slaves. The Irish were slaves. The Appalachian people were slaves. The Indians were being used as slaves. The black people were used as slaves. Women were just used as slaves. Slavery? No. Was slavery ever good? No. It was bad for everybody, from the Indians through the Scots, the Irish, to the blacks, to, child slavery, women's slavery. It's all bad. But that was not the reason for the Civil War. And so I always had that loyalty. And there's no rhyme or reason for it because I was only a kid. Why? Because I was a Confederate. But I also had this strong interest in the underground tunnel, or the Underground Railroad, of helping people get from one place to another. So somehow my life evolved around that Confederate War and slavery, but to help as a white person, helping black slaves get north. And to this day, I'm interested in underground tunnels and the Underground Railroad. And I kind of get a little bit angry when I see how people that believe in the South, and the Confederate flag, have been bastardized, based on false information that they have been given, saying that it was because we didn't like blacks, or the whites didn't like blacks. There was a lot of bad things going on in those times. A lot of bad things. And it wasn't with just the blacks. But my heart was in the right place, and I was trying to help. But I also believed in my country of the South. So you see, when you have a passion like that, whether it be love or hate or fear, you can be guaranteed that it was from a past life. So then what you do is you start to focus on it. Okay, I know that I was a Confederate loyalist. So then I start paying attention to all the different things that's going down in the South. That's how, when I started paying attention, I realized how I put attention to the Underground Railroad, and how I put attention to the songs and things like that. So then, okay, so another bit of information came to me about my life in the South. And that's how you do it. And you saved yourself $60. Listen to your body. Pay attention to you and your passions. What do you believe in? What don't you believe in? What irks you? What excites you? What makes you fear? What makes you love? What makes you want to become involved? Where are your passions? That's who you were and always was. All right? So anyhow, hubby is telling me to get dinner's ready. And because I can't read your comments, I won't be able to read any cards. But private message me. And or I can just, because once I turn this off, then then I'll be able to see the comments. Okay, so I'll just look down and I'll see who needs a reading, and then we can just pick it up on the next show. And this is Mary Sutherland, Winslow, Illinois, letting you all know that I love you, and you, and you, and you. I hope that you use that, Cindy uses or Carol uses the pendulum, and see if she can't get rid of her toothache. And now I'm going to have dinner, and then after that I'll be back on Facebook. Remember, my website is burlingtonnews.net. That's 2 N's. Burlington News, all into one word, burlingtonnews.net. I have my own search engine, and I got a website probably the size of Texas. So I got the search engine there. Any topic that you're interested in that I've written about, type it into that search engine, because that's my personal search engine. It's not a Google. The only thing that's going to show up is things that I have written on, that I have on my website. Plus, I got a blog page. I advise all of you right now, I'm maxed out on my timeline. So any of you that wants to be in, interacting with me, join in my group. Facebook.com/groups/Mary Sutherland. And support us by going to my store, and which is Burlington, Living in the Light, ms.com/littlebits, LITLBITS, because we have a little bit of everything, right? Including tarot cards and fairies and dolls and trolls, metaphysical items. We got it all. And so anyhow, there's a lot of ways to interact with me. Our tour season has started, but right now I don't know how well everything's going because of all these floods. But next week I have a bachelorette party to throw up in the woods. Kind of crazy, but it'll be fun. Actually, it'll be nicer than what we probably were planning, because they'll be with nature and the gods and the goddesses and the fairies and the gems. So, probably it's a good thing. And we're going to get, well, anyhow, I'll tell you more about it. My husband wants me to eat right now. So, anyhow, sending tons of love to all of you. All right. Let's see. No, I want to read my poem. Okay. Here it is. See, this is supposed to be present. Okay, the right hand is present. The left hand is past. So here is me past. Here is me present. See that nice long lifeline I got? Me, I'm gonna live forever. Okay, talk to you guys maybe tomorrow or something, okay? Enjoy. Sorry that I couldn't comment back, but I will comment back when it comes up on Facebook. Okay. Bye now. Goodbye.